Today's topic is all about deadlines. If you've got 5 minutes, I've got 5 tips to help you use deadlines to propel your writing forward. It was sci-fi writer Douglas Adams, who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, who once wrote this about deadlines. I love deadlines. I love the whooshing noise they make as they go by. Now, even if you like that whooshing sound too, just listening to them and watching them go by you, I'm going to suggest to you that deadlines can be very useful for creating some momentum in your writing. You probably know by now that one of the most important characteristics for a successful writer is that that writer be self-motivated. Unless you already signed a contract with a publisher who has set some deadlines for you, you're really on your own. You're on your own to do what you want. You're on your own to write or to daydream and drink coffee and talk to your friends and go on social media sites and write clever Instagram posts or text with your friends. Do whatever you want. But if you want to write a book, or you want to write an article, or you want to write anything, then you have to write. And I think that self-imposed deadlines can help you get to the end of your project. I think deadlines are a key part of maintaining momentum in just about anything that you do in life. But I think they're also particularly important when it comes to writing. So I've got 5 tips for you. Tip number 1 is begin by applying what's called Parkinsons Law. Parkinsons Law is very simple. Any task will expand to fill the time that you allow for it. This has been something that I have followed my entire life, and I've observed it in myself, and I've observed it in my students, and I've observed it even in family members. Now, for example, if you want to set a deadline to write the first 3 chapters of your book, you could set that deadline for 1 year from now. And it's highly likely that you would have enough time to actually finish those 3 chapters. And you could say to yourself, well, I've met that deadline. But realistically, it might only take you a couple of months or even a few weeks, depending upon your writing habits, to write those 3 chapters. But if you give it longer than you need for it, I assure you it will take that entire time. Think about that very carefully before you set really far out deadlines. Tip number 2 is to plan your deadlines backwards. Now, this will help you from invoking Parkinson's Law, as I mentioned in tip number 1. What you do is you set your deadline and then you move backward in time toward today. And as you're doing that, you're going to see how much time you're going to actually need to devote to that writing deadline in order to get it done. How much time every week or every day will you need to do that? And if you do that, that leads directly into my tip number 3. And tip number 3 is set your deadlines for completing smaller portions of a larger project. Instead of saying, I'm going to finish my book by this deadline, say I'm going to finish the first 3 chapters. Big deadlines with big tasks can be overwhelming. Tip number 4, write your deadlines down. Now, if you don't have a paper calendar, if you're all digital, I'm going to suggest to you that you go out and get yourself one, or create yourself one and print it out. And write your deadlines down on that printed calendar. Keep them on your desk or on a bulletin board near your desk if that's what you like to use. And every time you sit down to write, you've created a time for your writing session, sit down and before you begin, look at your deadline. Get it in your head, know what you need to accomplish by what date, and get working on it. Tip number 5 is keep a log. I'm going to suggest that you create a log of some kind to keep you focused on your daily work. And this log might vary from one project to another. I actually keep a word count log for some of my projects, but not all of my projects. And I've created for myself an actual log that I've printed out and that I write down the word count every day as I move forward. The next day, before I begin work, I look at my deadline and I sit down and I look at what I accomplished yesterday. I see where I am and I see where I need to go. To tell you the truth, it can be kind of thrilling to look at that log, it filled up, and to see the actual forward motion of your progress. If you're still feeling negative about deadlines, which some people do, writer Rita Mae Brown, who wrote a great writing manual called Writing from Scratch, among other things, she's also a novelist, said this about deadlines. A deadline is negative inspiration. Still, it's better than no inspiration at all. So good luck with meeting your deadlines. I know I have one. I have to get back to work. Talk to you next time. Subscribe to Write, Fix, Repeat. And maybe I can help you improve your writing knowledge and skills. 5 tips at a time.